Listen, you know what time it is. It's time for another episode of your favorite podcast entitled We Hate You Internet! All right, gather around once again. Apparently, I'm going through puberty. You heard that crack? This is We Hate You Internet. It's a podcast designed to bring awareness on the problematic effects of the internet on our lives, as well as celebrate the beautiful simplicity of our humanity. I'm your host, Wilfred Hamilton. Wilfred Shaggy Hamilton. And I am a prepubescent teen today. Apparently, I don't know what's going on. But we're going to truck through. We want to start like we always do. Hit the subscribe button. Come on now. I'm saying, step your game up. You know what I'm saying? Jump in this thing. We rolling. We need you to roll with us. You know what I'm saying? If you're on the YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Follow. Notification bell. All that jazz. You watch the videos. You know how to do all that stuff at the beginning. Same thing here, man. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment in the comment section. Do that stuff, man. Yeah. on the audio side, you know what I mean? Make sure you hit that follow button whenever you follow the show, whatever platform that you're utilizing. Go ahead and hit the follow button. Rate the show, please. It helps with the algorithm. I didn't want to waste a whole lot of time. I want to jump in because this is part 2, a follow up to our episode last week. We talked about the power of sex, and so this is the power of sex, part 2. And last time, we really with the objective of these particular episodes, we want to just talk about sex in a real way. You know what I mean, and not just talk about like the freedom of sex. Because people like to talk about that and love to make it like fun and it's great and wild and blah 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 blah. But we want to talk about like the real effects of sex on people's lives, because I think that people, I don't want to use the word irresponsible, but I think that people they do not respect sex as they ought to. And you could look at that from a moral perspective, but even more importantly, just from a biological and psychological perspective, people don't respect sex like they ought to, because make no doubt about it, you know what I mean? Like sex plays a major part in a person's psychological and physical well-being, their quality of life on the earth. And I'm not just talking about getting as much as you can to do it, to be wild. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm talking about your relationship with sex will play a major part in the quality of life that you live on the earth. You know what I mean? And a lot of times people are very quick to jump in and out of situations, jumping in and out of beds, and else people have sex, cars and all this kind of jazz. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's really important that you really are aware and mindful of, like I said, how it affects the quality of your life. I'm a Christian, and so I believe that, people should be married when they have sex. I think, and it's not necessarily just even for just like religious purposes, but when you understand, like I said, with the things that we're discussing, then you understand why it's important that people should be married when they're doing this stuff. Like it's a life commitment that y'all are committed to each other, because sex, man, is, it's like last episode we compared it to like major drugs. You know what I mean? Whether pharmaceutical or street. You know what I mean? Like, you have to make sure that you respect the power of the drug, or it can take you. You know what I mean? And like I said, sex is no different. You start talking about. So we talked about the three levels and aspects of sex, whether it be physical, mental, and emotional. We talked about those things. We talked about the victimization and how trauma can play into people's sexual behavior, and how coping mechanisms and things of that nature. But then also the seeds that are planted with those activities, regardless if they're based on trauma or not. All those activities, the things that people do, they plant seeds, and those seeds grow, and they bear fruit in people's lives. And like I said, you wonder why people struggle so much. You wonder why people become alcoholics and things of that nature, is because they're trying to cope. a lot of times. I'm not saying, like I said, nothing is 100% every time, 100%. No, but you can still talk about generally speaking, and the majority of times you can speak on things, and that doesn't make the precaution any less important. You see what I'm saying? Like if there's an 85% chance that if you do this, this will happen, then you should really be mindful. Like this is something I need to really take seriously because you know out of 100 people, only 15 people come out of it. And it don't affect them like that. But 85%, I'm saying 85 people come out of it with skate. You know what I mean? Like marked up. You know what I'm saying? So it's a great chance that if you join those ranks, you're going to join the 85 people, not the 15. It is simple probability. And so, uh, like I said, we're gonna dive in a little bit. Last week we left off, and we want to kind of continue with this discussion as far as sex for men and women. We want to kind of look at it from that perspective. We kind of touched on it last week for talking about females and how the emotional and psychological aspect and the physical aspect is totally different for a male. And I see a lot of women, promoting promiscuity. You hear it in a lot of music and things of that nature, and it sounds cute on record. And people twerking and doing all this stuff, and acting wild. People go out and with their girls, and they having all these clothes on. It's like female empowerment by being half naked and doing all these things. And I'm saying it not to try to like downplay, but I want people to really think about what I'm saying and think about what you're saying, especially young women or women in general. There's this thought that like if the and here's like this is it. The more masculine I am, the more like a man that I act, the more powerful I feel. I've talked about this on multiple episodes about female psychology. And the reality is that the far majority, and I mean far majority of women, the things that drive them is fear. It's fear and vulnerability. That's what drives women to do the things that they do. They live in a world that is hostile. Uh, they feel threatened because of their level of vulnerability in this world. You know what I'm saying? Biologically, a woman is born weaker. So there are far more threats to a woman from a biological perspective. Follow what I'm saying. This is not a knock on women. It's not trying to say, oh, women ain't doing it. No, this ain't got nothing to do with none of that because I really don't care to have conversations like that. I don't. Yeah, that's not really my concern. And like, I ain't tripping about a woman doing whatever she want to do. Man, you're a human being. You only live once. You do what you want to die. Really, that don't bother me at all. My thing is just that you want to understand. For me, male or female, you want to understand and know yourself. You want to know why I do the things that I do. But a lot of people don't take the time to get to know themselves. They just react. A lot of times it's based on trauma. It's based on fear. It's based on pain, and people formulate behaviors and personalities based on those things without even really understanding why, because they never address the root of why they do the things they do. You know what I mean? And so a lot of women go and they want to be successful in college and like it's because it's fear. And the fear is fear of vulnerability. That is what drives the far majority of women. I don't want to be vulnerable to a man. I don't want to be vulnerable financially to where a person a person can take advantage of me. I want to be able to take care of my own things because I don't want to have to depend on anybody else because then they can hurt me. Then they can try to take advantage of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, women of old, they have husbands, their husbands get to beat on them or cheat on them or whatever, and they were like stuck because they didn't have any options. I don't want to be like that. I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of like I said, a man having power over me in any way. A lot of that sometimes is rooted in like trauma, sexual, people, what I mean? Like, and it's a sad thing. I'm not trying to downplay this at all. But, sexual trauma is very common. I don't think people, even now, as much as it's talked about, I still don't think people really understand how common that it is for children to be taken advantage of. Like it's very common. It's very sad, but it's very true. And those experiences really shape people as they move forward in their lives, man. Like, and I want people to really understand, like, it's stuff going on in the background. Hopefully it don't pick up, but And it's real time, real life out here. So, like I said, man, I really hope that people can hear what I'm saying and accept it. Don't feel threatened and get defensive because that's not gonna help. Just listen to what I'm saying and like understand. You may say, "Well, that's not me." Okay, that's fine, but it could be. It's probably it's most likely somebody that you know. This is real life stuff, man. And so as we're having this discussion, this is what I want people to take away from it, man. Really listen and understand. Like, there's a reason why people are functioning the way they do, and but the way that they function, like it brings forth ramifications. There are fruit that come from the things that people do. You know what I'm saying? And so on the same line, a lot of the promiscuity and stuff that you see in society is really coping mechanisms to feel strong, feel powerful, feel in control. If I'm in control of my body and I can walk around and do all these things, nobody gonna tell me what to do. Nobody can tell me what to dress. Blah 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 blah. That's a coping mechanism for fear of vulnerability. You see what I'm saying? Because if you don't want sexual attention, then why would you dress in a way that brings sexual attention? Because it's empowering. Because I get to do what I want to do. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. It's true. You can do what you want to do. But you get the result that you don't want. You follow what I'm saying? Like, the result that you get is the result that you don't want. You don't want to be sexualized, but you dress yourself in this way and you bring forth this kind of attention. You want the attention, but you don't want to be victimized. I get it. I've heard the conversations. I get that. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about what a man think. That's not true. Like, that's not true. You looked at yourself in the mirror before you left the house. So you knew what you looked like. You were going for a look. You were going for a look. You see what I'm saying? Like, you had a look in mind when you picked that outfit, and you understood what you want to accomplish with that outfit. So like, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, don't lie to yourself because you want to do yourself a disservice. So this idea, and I'm saying all that goes into the play of this idea of like female promiscuity that's really like being driven. You know what I mean? And it's like cool, and I can go get the D and like blah 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 blah. Like this whole concept, right? Like, there it comes with consequences. You know what I mean? Like, men and women are not the same. And my desire, my prayer is that women understand that this is not a knock on like, oh, because you're a woman, so a man can do these things. So we're gonna touch on that next. But like, please understand, like, you ain't gotta try to prove your strength by trying to act like a dude. By going, cause you going down and opening yourself up to a man to come in and have pleasure with you is not empowering. That's the lie that's being told. But the reality is that you still leave afterwards feeling some type of way. I don't feel some type of way. I don't care about that. I just got what I needed. Okay, okay. But at the end of the day, you have to lay down. You have to open yourself up to this person. That's the reason why you got to have drinks and sometimes other substances to get your mind in a place where you can do this activity with this person. So the very fact that you got to have pregame drugs and alcohol in order to get yourself prepared, that very fact shows that this is something that you are initially uncomfortable with, and you have to get yourself lubed up, figuratively speaking. We did it with last time, metaphorically speaking, in order for you to engage in activity, because in your rational mind, you know that this is uncomfortable. There's a value to this that I'm giving to this individual because I'm looking to try to scratch a physical itch maybe, but then you're forgetting about the other two aspects, the mental and the emotional. Like, for this person to come inside, you to invite this person inside of your body, it has an emotional toll on every woman every time. Don't kid yourself and think that you just, oh man, out here just getting it. No, that's the reason why you get drunk. That's what I'm saying. You get drunk before so that you can try to numb that aspect of it. Because at the end, because by its very nature, it's vulnerable, and that, like what I already talk about. For a woman, one of the number one driving forces for a woman is fear of vulnerability. But by the very nature of sex, it puts a woman in a vulnerable state. Please, man, I hope that you heard what I just said, and that's the one thing I want people to understand. And young ladies, I really want you to understand, sex is not nothing to play with. And then you get to running around and getting your counts up, getting your reps in with all these different people, and then you find somebody you want to be in love with, and now all of a sudden, like, you got to deal with this one individual's biology, whatever that case may be, and like, but you got all this other stuff in your head, and that's when problems start. That's when you got issues, man. Like, and man, like, you got issues. You see what I'm saying? Like, and you want to love this person, you want to be with this person, but you got other stuff in your head that other experiences that you've had. And that stuff can wreak havoc, man, on a person's quality of life. That's what we talked about. I think I can settle down right now for women. I can leave that there. There's so much more I can say, but I don't want to just spend all this time. So I want to jump on the other side and talk about from a male's perspective. From a male's perspective, and I've had conversations with women about this, and they find it to be like, it's like, wow, really? Like, I tell them, I'm like, for a woman, sex, she has to really be in a right state of mind, and her body got to be in alignment in order for it to be pleasurable. There's a lot of ways that in fact, that for a woman, that sex can be uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of different reasons and ways that can be the case. You know what I mean? But for a man, like 95% of the time, there is no discomfort for sex. Like, it's only pleasure. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why it's different. You know what I mean? For a woman, like, she has to be in a certain, like I said, she got to be calibrated. Literally speaking. She got to be properly calibrated in order for it to be pleasurable. You know what I mean? Time of the month, ovulation, like hormonal levels, all this kind of stuff. Like, it can affect a woman's ability to have pleasurable sex. But for a guy, shoot, 95% of the time, 29 days of the month. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ready to rock and roll, and it's never just pleasurable. It's never like this kind of like, man, I'm feeling a little, unless a cat has been, you know what I'm saying? He been dipping, he been dipping hard, or, you know what I'm saying? He been, the lotion he was using last time for himself, it didn't, it was friction. Gotta get a carpet bird. Anyway, moving on. That's my grass moment. I had to have my grass moment. But anyway, but yeah, women be like, really? Yeah, that's the reason why guys can go and just dip in and dip out and be like, but because there is no discomfort. I don't have to get ready. Like, as long as it's, properly oiled, like, man, you know what I'm saying? It's me in and out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's 100% pleasure. Like, it's never discomfort. You know what I'm saying? So from a physical perspective, it's totally different. And then, but when you start talking about the mental and emotional aspect, like, and this is where guys, like, it's the same concept. Like, you lay down with a person, and so for a guy, because of the lack of the physical setbacks, right, the mental aspect can get really sticky and difficult. But these things plant seeds too. You may go in just being like, hey, man, I'm going to tell her what I need to tell her. I'm going to do what I need to do just to get this, get it in. You know what I mean? But that kind of a mentality is toxic. And being selfish and being an abuser in that way, and by abuser, I don't mean physically, I just mean mentally and emotionally. Like, you're really taking advantage of this person, telling them what they want to hear, getting them, in the proper place to where you can take advantage of them. And it ain't got to necessarily be date rape drugs. It's just from a psychological perspective. You make them think that you like them, or that they cool and it's all good, or that they're special or whatever, just so you can get what you want from them and then leave them. And that's messed up. You know what I mean? But as an individual, if you operate like that, then it's going to start shaping your thought process to either A, like, not really respect yourself that much, which means you got to, like, do other stuff to try to, like, cope with the ill behavior that you're having, or B, it causes you not to trust other people because you are an untrustworthy person. Those are the things that happen in people's lives. You know what I'm saying? And then the third thing, and a guy meets someone, excuse me, a guy meets someone, they want to settle down, they love them, but now you got all this other stuff bouncing around in your head. Not number one. Number two, you have opened yourself up to bad habits. And so you ruin relationships because you can't stay faithful, because you have developed a habit of having different tastes and dipping in and out of different, pools, so to speak. You know what I mean? And so now you're really struggling with having meaningful relationships with people because you've developed a habit of dipping in and out, man. You know what I'm saying? How many marriages and relationships you've seen fall apart because of infidelity? And it's because people, that's what you used to now. And that's one of the things people don't understand, man. Like this stuff, it affects your life. You know what I mean? You got to really think about these things. I hope some young people are listening to the podcast before you get yourself involved in this world like this. Understand what you're getting yourself involved with. It's not cute. This stuff you see on videos and stuff, that's just one aspect. It's production. You know what I mean? Social media is production. But in real life, man, there are real life ramifications to this stuff. There are real feelings involved with this stuff. And like, this stuff don't go away. It stick with you. You know what I mean? And spare yourself for the trouble. And that's my advice. So that's the physical, that's the mental for a man, and then the emotional side. You know, when a man, reaches his limit, I try to use my politically correct terms. Like that's a feeling that you don't feel any other aspect in life. Like there's no other aspect in life. You can enjoy stuff and be like, man, this is great. And this is really like tight. But the physical and psychological like reaction to to finishing or receiving climax, like it's like having or like there is no other avenue in life where like your body reacts that way. It's only in that activity. You see what I'm saying? Like, and that was a super powerful hormones like pumping through your body at that time. You know what I'm saying? It's like I say, it's like drugs, man. I mean, and some people are addicted to sex for the same point that I'm making. You see what I'm saying? Like, and so when you're with someone and like you let it go, the shot, the shot is shot. And then after you are like, you know what I'm saying? Like you drain. Like you see animals, they be like, oh, and they be like, dang, they lay down. Human beings kind of like that too. You have to learn the behavior to be like, all right, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to learn that behavior to like, oh, let me make sure I get my stuff together. Somebody don't rob me or like steal my stuff when I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kind of laid out. Like I got to get a moment to kind of like get myself together. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? Like I said, that level of distrust from an emotional perspective is not good. You know what I'm saying? That level of disconnect, when you have to disconnect yourself from that person immediately and I'm bouncing, like that's not good. That's not good behavior. That's not good pattern. That's not good habits. You see what I'm saying? Like trying to share, and then when you open yourself up to sharing this moment with other people, and then you move on to another person, we break up, move to another person, do this person, I move on to another person. That behavior and that pattern is not good at all. You see what I'm saying? Like from a male's perspective, like, and then males try to pretend like, oh man, this stuff don't matter to me, but it does. It really does. You ever heard the term person be like, I ain't trying to catch no feelings. I gotta make sure I ain't catching no feelings, or make sure she ain't catching no feelings, because that's what sex does. You heard the term love making. We're gonna make love. That the term is make love because it causes a connection between the two participants. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it does. You see what I'm saying? And so you don't underestimate this stuff, man. This stuff is powerful. You need to think twice before you start trying to just go in and just involve yourself with this activity, man. How much time I got? Y'all, if I 5 minutes, okay. I said I was gonna keep this one quick, but apparently I ran a little bit. I want to start wrapping it up. I'm not going to be able to say much more than I've already said. Like I said, man, what is your desire again, Wilford? What is your desire? Why are you talking about this stuff? I mean, I really hope that people can hear what I'm saying with truthful ear, with honest ears. I'm not trying to badger nobody. I'm not trying to like talk bad about anybody. You know what I mean? I've stated my beliefs, but it's not even about necessarily what I believe. The point of this discussion is really just to get people really thinking about this stuff, man. Like really think. When you see this content on social media and you see the posts and you see the videos and you see all this stuff, I want you to really think beyond what you're just seeing with your physical eyes and understand that there are other aspects of this behavior that you should consider. You know what I mean? When guys going out with they boys and like, maybe if we got here, blah, 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 we on a 2-man. You know what I'm saying? You finna go out here and like try to and just find some chicks to bed real quick. Like, I want you to really think about the ramifications of this stuff for her and for you. I mean, some people just like, I don't care. Okay, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? You go out and do what you're going to do. But then you're going to be affected by this stuff down the road. You're going to have a daughter. And your daughter going to get out here and you're going to be cats preying on her. And then you're going to be out here, I got to get my gun. Well, I mean, like I said, so think about that. You dealing with somebody else's daughter. You dealing with somebody else's sister, and you're going like, even if she's willing, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm with it. Like, understand the ramifications of this for her. If you care about other people, think about how this is going to affect her down her line, down her life. Her life ain't going to end with just, I don't give a F about her. Well, and that's a part. That's a part of the problem. That's what we're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, you don't care. And young ladies, like, I want you to really think about before you decide to go lay down and get some attention. Because listen, man, a lot of times that's what this is about too. I just want to feel close. And this is the only way I've learned. This is how I do it. Is by be willing to trade my body for psychological and emotional intimacy. And that's sad, man. That's a bad deal. Those things plant seeds. This stuff is powerful stuff, man. It causes people to kill each other. It causes people to rob and like stalk, run people over with cars. You know, throw people's jobs and act crazy. You know what I'm saying? People be getting fired. You know what I mean? Man, listen. For those of you adults, and we gonna wrap this thing up, we done. I want you to think about this. And leave this in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? You got this far. Think about this. One story, one instance you've heard in your life since you've been living where sex caused people to get themselves involved in some crazy stuff. Anybody that's been working on a job know that you got a real quick story. Anybody got a story about people messing around at work and it got ugly. And I ain't got to say no more. We done. That simple example right there shows just how powerful sex is. It displays the power of sex. It may have been mutually agreed that we're going to just do this, whatever, and all of a sudden, you underestimated the power. And now, cats showing up, you know what I'm saying, on their day off in regular clothes, looking crazy, looking for people. Did so-and-so clock in today? You know what I mean? It's all kind of crazy. So cats married, and that's right. Yeah, all kind of crazy stuff going on. People windshields busted out. All kind of crazy stuff going on. Because you underestimated the power of this activity that you involved yourself with. But if you're married with somebody, then you got to worry about, you know, I come home to you every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't got to bust my windows as I win. We both pay the bill in this car. You know what I mean? But I digress. You know what I mean? That's the episode for today. Do all the stuff, man. Subscribe, follow. Like I said, I really hope this is helpful. Man, I really hope people, man, that's my desire. One person just stop and think and be like, man, that make a lot of sense. I'm going to really take it to heart what he said and just move forward with it, man, because, you know, what he said is just true. It's just true. You know, and anybody that's honest, I believe you can find some truth in what I said. I hope that it's helpful once again. Until next time, we're going to leave you like we always do, asking that you stay safe, stay blessed, and please stay